Hey, it's Phil the Thrill here. So, let's get into the weeds. You're probably asking, how the heck does someone remotely invest in real estate? Because usually you are there at the house and you can see the property, you can see the tenant, yada. Well, I did it, and it was actually not that hard. Back in 2017, I bought a single home for my family and I. Little did I know, I was actually never going to live there. So, we bought this house at a value of $320,000 in 2018. At that time, I actually thought it was expensive. Obviously, we are now in 2021. Things are a little bit different. So this house was 2,400 square feet, 3 bedroom, 4 bathroom, not including the basement and amenities, which was actually a pretty good thing, because there was a lot of things in the basement that we really loved. It was my dream house. It was my wife's dream house. But again, I had to go work somewhere else. So what to do with this home? Should I sell it? Should I hodl it? Hold on for dear life. Crypto terminology. If I were to sell it, I would not have any real estate assets at that time, where I only had one type of diversification, which is not diversification because it's one. So I will only have stocks, and with stocks, if the stock market crashes, my whole portfolio crashes. So if I were to hold it, how do I keep track of it from another location that is thousands of miles away? So there's a couple of things I had to think about. But wait a second, we are in the era of digitization, and that is when I really thought about it and saw how I can actually make this work. Anyways, digitization really means video conferencing, money transfers, online material purchasing, all delivered right to your home. You can research contractors online. You don't need to see the house. So on top of that, I have another asset class that could potentially still hold its value. Real estate can still be up here if the market crashes. Historically, that does occur. So I decided to hodl. How did I start? But before I explain it to you, make sure you could cling that notification bell, and it will help the algorithm, even though I have 100 subscribers. I want to express that this is not financial advice, only my opinion on what I personally like to do. Also, consider subscribing if you do like this channel, as it will help me push for more content. Anyways, here's the list. Number 1, I look for the property manager overseer. This is the most important part of remote real estate investing. The property overseer is your brain for this whole operation, who will check the house of any issues. They will ensure you receive your tenant rent checks. They will inspect the property, and they will be the middleman of any miscellaneous issues out there, all while you're sleeping comfortably halfway across the world. Jokingly, but seriously. Property overseer usually charges around 8 to 10% of your monthly rent. Remember that you never want to go cheap with an overseer, especially if you are living far away, when you really depend on this one person. So it'll be good if you actually put in 10%, because you know you have an actual good real estate property manager handling all your things for that property, an actual experienced person. If you do go cheap while you're actually doing something else from another state, again, you might have issues. Number 2, I needed to have a bank that was well established across many states or countries. This is also important because it makes it more accessible for you and the property manager to connect transfer of payments through your bank. So for instance, my property manager, she receives a check from my tenant, and then sometimes through the mail, drives that to the bank from that state, deposits it, and then it hits my bank account. And then from that same bank, I can withdraw that money from a different state or a different location if that bank is there. If I do need to go back to the state where my real estate property is, my bank is still there. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Phil, you can just simply use Zelle, Cash App, or any other type of easy application. Well, that's true, but my overseer is not at the millennial age or the Generation Z age where they probably use different types of apps. So sometimes you will have to work with old school property managers that have been using banks instead, which is quite fine. And this is the route I took with that experienced property manager who was older than me. Number 3, have a way to connect with the property manager, whether it's through WhatsApp, Signal, Skype, your own phone line, some connection where you can actually contact that person right away, or they can contact you. This is so important because we text each other of small miscellaneous things here and there. Sometimes the tenant needs something, the property manager will contact you and basically ask you for the permission. You can just say yes real quick. So make sure you actually do have that, and it's so important. It's one of the important things is communication. Also, if there is an emergency, they can call you at any moment. For the past 3 years, we actually received only one emergency phone call, and that was because the sewage line broke. And yes, it was a disaster, which was fixed finally, but it does happen. Number 4, so the tenant. The tenant is also an important part of making sure you have a good remote real estate investing strategy. I can't stress this enough. The tenant is the heartbeat of this whole procedure. If you have a bad tenant, no matter what you do remotely or even unremotely, you'll have headaches. So that's the honest truth. This is not a unicorn world as much as people promise you this. I just want to give you the cons on that. But you can actually mitigate this and make sure you have a good tenant. So the reason why I put number 1 as having a great property manager is because the property manager will help you find a great tenant. The property manager has the experience that will find and vet the right tenant for your property. They will discover the quality more efficiently, and you will have less issues, liability issues, rent issues with your tenant. You'll have a bigger bang for your buck. While if you find a tenant yourself, when you know how to look for one, you could receive a tenant who's gonna probably abuse you. So make sure you also screen the potential tenant. Make sure you conduct the background check of the tenant, check references. And one good thing of the property manager is that they can actually do that, but I would think it would be best if you would also do that yourself. So in conclusion, I thought this would be impossible at first, but I took a swing at this and it turned out to be something that I can actually work with for the long term. Oddly enough, when the world event occurred last year, I was actually prepared doing remote real estate, as many others were trying to figure it out with all the shutdown locations and social distancing that was occurring. So we were actually in our A game during that time frame because we were already doing remote real estate. So this is actually something that does work and can work, and many other people are actually doing remote investing because you have the tools to do it. 20 years ago, this will probably not be actually applicable because we did not have such apps and social media connections, communications to do this. It is so easy now that one person can actually buy a property and then have a property manager look over it while you just get the passive income. So will I do this over again? Yes, I would actually do this again. I am actually in search of another property that I would like to invest for the next year. So I hope you get to actually see how I remote invest by what I described in real estate. And if this is something you would like to try, these are my personal steps I took that helped me in my opinion. And maybe it could help you. As time progressed and I learned a little bit more about real estate remote investing, I will find more tricks on making this work. So as always, thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next round. Pow!